And I just loved the way he handled it. Of course, his very own father, as you know, was the part I played, and I was nervous as hell. I said, how am I going to play your father? I never met him, and he's dead. It's going to be very difficult for me to. And he said, no, just be yourself. And it was so relaxed on that set. And Michael had done such a superb job of making everyone feel at ease, and it was his second film. He never made a feature before. He was a graphic artist, and a very good one.
Did he do the artwork that we saw?
Yeah. And this was his second feature. So, but it felt like you were working with somebody like old John Ford. I mean, been a professional for years.
It was a stunning piece of work, and to tell the story in flashbacks, there was many an occasion when I had to pedal fast to keep up. Where are we here? And it was just marvelous. It really made one think about where we stand in this film.
Yeah, and I thought it was a lovely take on playing somebody who was gay and discovering the last minute. It was enchanting, and I loved working with Ewan McGregor, who was a scene-stealing son. Did you notice that I tried to shut up the dog a lot? Sort of muzzled him.
I noticed that. He is in the lobby demonstrating right now, as a matter of fact.
When you learned that you had been nominated for the Academy Award, and then learned that you had won an Academy Award, with all the acclaim you've received over the years, and all the standing ovations and applause, and people running up to you for autographs.
God, I wish that had happened.
Well, was it still, it might sound like a dumb question, but I've had a long career asking dumb questions. Was it still a magical moment getting the Academy Award, or was it just another great award for you?
Well, no. You see, the funny thing is, they always ask you, what's going through your mind? You know, that awful question.
That's what I meant to say.
Well, what is going through your mind is, am I going to get my speech of thanks right? That's all you're thinking about. That's all you're thinking about, I promise.
Well, your speech of thanks was wonderful, and you said, "Where have you been all my life, sweetheart?" You said such thing. A marvelous, marvelous line.
Well, of course, it's a great award to get. I'm glad I did it before I croaked. Just in time.
How many times have you seen this film?
I think about 3. Yeah.
And
that's quite enough for me.
And when you look at your films, do you rework yourself and think, I should have looked a different way?
No, not when I used to when I was in my 30s. But then in your 40s, you get into the character actor bit, and then you don't care a damn how you look. But all the 20s and 30s, you're always thinking, oh my God, my profile.
See, that's why it's good to be heavy. You don't have a profile. You might think about that, Christopher. I don't want to tell you your business here, but where is the Oscar at this moment? Where do you?
None of your business.
I just wanted it for the weekend.
No, but it's funny how everybody goes absolutely insane if you want an Oscar.
I know, it drives me crazy.
Yes, it's in my study. I left it in my study.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But come on.
It's very heavy. I can't take it anywhere with me.
So what happens the day after? Here you are, one of the greatest actors in the world. What happens the day after you get that Academy Award back home?
Well, you
hotel.
Spend most of the next day getting rid of your hangover. Which is what I've done all my life. So
you don't have any idea what he's been doing backstage while he's filming. Well, we have some questions in the audience. Trade microphones. Who has a question for Academy Award-winning Christopher Plummer? Oh, calm down. One at a time question. Oh, good. Here we go. Let me give you the microphone. You're so eager. Bless you for that.
What's next, Mr. Plummer?
oh, well, there's an HBO thing I did on, which I'm rather proud of because it's very well written. It's coming out probably around Christmas. It's called Muhammad Ali's Greatest Fight. And it's all about Muhammad Ali's refusing to fight in Vietnam and being granted conscientious objector status by the Supreme Court, of whom I am the nice judge who gives him that freedom, and understands his problem, and understands that indeed he is very much ahead of his time.
I thought maybe you were going to play Muhammad Ali, and I was thinking, here comes another Oscar.
I wouldn't deprive you of that.
Well, now the secret is out. We've been found out.
Just raise your hand if you have a question. Surely there are questions. One over there.
Everybody's being very shy. Oh, good. Let me pass the mic to you.
Hello, Mr. Plummer.
Yes.
You've had so many wonderful roles that you've done throughout the years that everyone has commented on. And is there one role that you felt you should have won an Oscar for, that you thought you put your all into, and you were surprised that you did not?
No, it's going to sound very sort of cliche, but we don't go into this business of ours, of which I have more fun in than any other profession that I could think of, all these years, and think of Oscars. If you began thinking of Oscars every time you did something, you'd never get anything. Absolutely. We're not in it for that. It's nice to get them. It's lovely to be recognized. But the work itself and the roles, and think look at all the great Shakespearean roles that I've been lucky enough to have played on both sides of the Atlantic. I mean, those are the things that really, really excite you.
John Barrymore has been an influence on your life, as well as a role you have assumed.
Well, yes, John Barrymore, of course, I never knew him. I'm not quite that old. But
Well, I wasn't implying that.
but reading Good Night, Sweet Prince, which was the wonderful Gene Fowler's book, I read that when I was 14. And I thought, oh my God, if that's what acting is all about, if you can be as glamorous as he is, and stay up all night and drink yourself to death and then come on and play Hamlet the next day. I mean, if that's acting, I want to be an actor.
And then you came from a line of statesmen and politicians. Did you ever consider possibly going into politics or government or
No,
diplomacy?
good God, no. I can't even spell politician.
You were given a prestigious award by your native country, Canada. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, we're not allowed to be knighted anymore, the Canadians. I don't know why. We're always getting in the rough end of the stick. My great-grandfather was knighted, and he was Prime Minister of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't be knighted because someone called Mackenzie King, who was a rather mean little Prime Minister, we had, suddenly decided that Canadians can't get prizes anymore, so behave yourself and go to the back of the class. And unfortunately, we became a dominion, so we're given a kind of honorary knighthood, which
It's the order you received.
the Order of Canada, which is sanctified by Queen Elizabeth. So it's
So should we be calling you sir?
yeah, the knighthood that got away, I call it.
I have a question over here.
Mr. Plummer, you are a fantastic actor. I have a twofold question. First of all, what is your favorite movie, and who is your favorite actor?
Well, you can't have a favorite movie. I have so many favorite movies. But one of them, this will kill you, is Le Grand Illusion, the French film by Jean Renoir. I think it's one of the great films of all time. And then I think all the Michael Powell movies that he made during the late 40s and 50s, Red Shoes and A Matter of Life and Death. And he was a revolutionary director. And for American, terrific American speed and fun and wonderful understanding of the socialist side of this country was, of course, Frank Capra, my tremendous.
Were you ever directed in a Shakespearean play by Tyrone Guthrie or
Yes.
John Hirsch?
Yes,
Tell us about that.
Not John Hirsch, Tyrone Guthrie. Yes, indeed. He was, I would say, he at that time was the greatest Shakespearean director in the world. There was no one to touch him. He had already been the director of the Old Vic in London back in the 30s. So he had brought forth three rather good actors called Charles Laughton, Laurence Olivier, and Ralph Richardson. And it was he who directed them and brought them to the fore and helped make them great actors. And I was lucky enough to work with him when he began the Stratford Festival in Canada. We did Twelfth Night. I played Sir Andrea Gucci disgracefully. But he was just extraordinary to work with. And the reason he was that, the best way I can describe Tony Guthrie was that he was an audience of 1,000 people when he directed you. He just laughed at everything you did. He made you so relaxed and so confident that you were unbearable.
We have a question here.
Mr. Plummer, you performed on so many stages throughout the world. Do you have a favorite country you performed in, or were the audiences all the same? Is there some special memory?
Romania, for example, I said my favorite. No, I'm joking. I don't know. It's tough. I love the Stratford Festival in Canada because it's such a beautiful theater to work in.
Yay.
And I love the Aldrich Theatre in London, which I played in. And my favorite little theater in New York is the Music Box, which is still a proper theater that seats 1,000, I think, 1,100 people, but you can whisper. You don't need a microphone. Nothing. It's just superb. Yeah.
If you were dealing with an acting class, would you suggest that young actors first study the classics and then go on to other things?
Well, I began the other way around. I hated anything to do with school. And the idea of going to school made it sound rather amateurish to me. I wanted to get right in there with the pros, and make mistakes in front of an audience.